Guys, welcome to the Save Continue podcast, where every week we get together and talk about video games and video game related stuff. As always, I'm Shanae Howard, and with me is Tommy Shelby
Hello.
and Ryan Robinson. He bowed for
I
our
bowed.
listeners.
I'm sorry, I forgot. That doesn't play well in audio. I bowed.
No, it does not. But speaking of playing, what have you guys been playing this week?
Nothing.
Oh,
I haven't been playing anything,
poor
guys.
Tom. What's your week been like, Tom?
I mean, it's just been a normal week. Just,
Yeah. Taking a little
life.
hiatus.
So, yeah, I don't think I've played any video games this week.
Man, I've been
Yeah.
there though. I
That's
know
kind of
that feel.
crazy.
Yeah.
Because normally there's at least one that you've played.
Yeah, no, I don't think I've played anything this week. So I'm sorry to disappoint.
It's okay. Did you read
That's
anything?
fine.
What? What did you say to me?
Did you read anything?
No, not really.
Okay. Did you
know,
watch
who has
anything?
the time for things? What did I watch? I definitely watched some things. Oh, I started that fucking Haunting of Bly Manor.
That seems lame.
I
Not as
really
good
liked
as your
Hill
OG.
House. Yeah, Hill
Yeah.
House was good, but this one's
I'm really excited.
But like,
really
I've only
excited to
got
watch
2
it.
episodes left, so I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah,
you know?
you're already this deep, you know.
Yeah, I really don't like the main actress in this one. She's very annoying,
What's her
Who is it?
problem?
and I don't know, some whiny
Oh.
lady. And, oh, all
see
these
that.
ghosts. But
Yeah, I've heard
trying to
it's
get
not
into
as
the
good.
Halloween spirit.
Yeah.
So
You're not looking very spooky, and we've got 5 days till Halloween, so
well, you know, I put up some
To
decorations
Halloween.
a couple weeks ago,
yeah.
and planning on some, you know, picking some movies to watch on Halloween since I won't be able to give out candy like I usually do.
Yeah.
And yeah, like that.
Me and Kayla are gonna play that Dark Pictures Man of Medan for Halloween. So one of us will get spooked, not me.
I'm not familiar with it.
It's like I think it's the follow up to it's a follow up game that the Until Dawn people did.
Supermassive.
Gotcha.
Supermassive, that's the name. Supermassive. So we'll see.
But yeah, no, so me and Berto have been working on the backlog of shows we watched together because Berto has been so excited to watch the sequel to the Hill House, the Blythe House, or whatever. But I have heard from multiple people that it's not that good, and I
It's
have yet
not.
to tell Berto.
It just looks
I've yet
lame,
to
like
tell
on the
Berto
surface.
because we're finally watching all the shows that I've been waiting to watch with him, and I've been annoyed because I'm just like, I just want to watch this episode, but Berto's fucking asleep. I guess like I won't talk about it at work tomorrow.
So-
And like
I guess there's some movie that is based off of the same story that Bly Manor is based off of.
yes, there is.
Yeah, so Kayla has seen that movie, so like she already kind of knows some of the stuff that's gonna happen, but she doesn't really know what's gonna happen. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. She said the movie sucked too, but
Well,
We went to a drive-in movie theater and watched Carrie for the first time on Saturday.
you should have watched
Berto had
Carrie
never seen
2: The Rage.
it. Berto had also never seen it, and it was good. I just like
Yeah, they're all gonna laugh at you.
yeah.
I
And they
thought
did.
I thought for a very long time in the movie, I'd say like the first 30 minutes, I was like, so I know about the blood thing from like pop culture references, but I was like, is she, does she have a mental handicap? Like, is everyone just being really mean to this handicapped girl? Like, what's going on with her?
No,
Because like, she's a senior in high school and doesn't know what her period is. And I was very confused about that because like, and someone was like, oh, it's a, like, I mean, they didn't have the internet. I'm like, no, but they had like trash cans to put the tampons in because it clogs like stuff. Like they had pads and stuff. Like how, like even if it was a religious mother, I was like, but then once they like locked her in the thing and I was like, and it showed that the creepy like Jesus doll, I was like, I guess it's just a real religious thing.
oh
but
yeah,
I did like
I've
have, like, a
heard
really, like,
hundreds
good
of
chunk of the
conversations about
movie.
this movie, but I've never once heard this brought up. This is interesting.
So, well, like everyone was like, it's like she wasn't coordinated.
Yeah.
Like she like had her period and like grabbed people with her period hand.
Whoa.
And like even when she was bleeding and it was just like, and she didn't know, like she just thought it was like blood. Like she's still grabbing people with it, and I just feel
Yeah.
like I've like gotten blood on my hands or like other stuff that's not my period, and I don't grab people with my bloody hands. I don't know. It just seemed like it was like it just like I just got very confused. I was like, why has no one ever mentioned that Carrie has a handicap? Like what? Why is this like? I was like I have heard like so many pop culture references, and I was like, and no one's mentioned it, and I was like, oh, she's just highly abused. Got it.
Yeah, she actually doesn't
the
know.
remake of that movie with Julianne Moore. Julianne Moore is the only good part of that remake.
She's the only good part of a lot of movies that she's in, actually.
Yeah.
So
But Sue was such a babe.
you like babes?
The
huh?
brunette with the curly hair.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right on.
I don't really understand her point in the movie, but like still enjoyed it. I actually did really like it. But we also just finished Lovecraft Country. Like
How is that?
finally. So good. It's so good.
Yeah.
I would recommend it to everybody. Journey
I'm not gonna
Smollett,
watch that.
amazing actress. Like there's so many. Like if you read the, even if you read the Lovecraft Country book, there is like a bunch of changes that are done to it, and the consensus is pretty much that they are good changes because like some of the storylines make more sense. They kind of went some other places with it, and I don't know. I loved it. It's like an anthology series, so like every episode it's like its own theme.
Is there an episode
But all
where
the
they
stories
dig up
connect.
H.P. Lovecraft and punch his corpse? Do they ever do that?
No, but they do reference like him as a person being racist in one of the episodes. Like
Yeah.
They make note of it.
Duly noted.
they write it down in their journal, in the ledger for the
Yeah.
notes. But what have you been playing though, Ryan?
So I have been playing a lot of Yakuza. I finished Yakuza Kiwami 1 this last week, and that was a really good time. I started on Yakuza Kiwami 2 this week, which is on the TV behind me.
We can never make out anything on your television.
Yeah, it's way too bright.
Sure, but that's what's on there. Wait, hold up. There it is.
Could be pornography. I really wouldn't.
I was
At
gonna say,
times,
it's just a game.
it is pornography.
Yeah.
At times. So far, the game is great. I have yet to play a Yakuza game that I did not like. I'm enjoying every minute of it. I will say that they brought the cabaret minigame back from Yakuza 0, where you basically manage a hostess bar, and like have to manage like the roster of pretty ladies. One of the ladies that works in my bar wears an orange, like she's got an orange for a head, and Kaylee is really intent on me. Kaylee's really intent on me firing her because of how she looks.
I was gonna ask. I was like, so like, do they just like not show up for shifts sometimes, and you have to like call them and be like, "Where are you at?" and like.
Sometimes they will call in. I think it seems random. Well, it doesn't seem random. I think it's like based on like how tired they are, like based on like how many consecutive nights you have them work. So sometimes they'll call in. But it's a fun mini game. But like
So absenteeism is a metric in that game.
it's not really a metric. It's not really something that you track. It's just like, oh, I can't use this person tonight for the thing.
Can you just take Orange Head Girl off your like schedule?
I don't even think that you can like actually fire anybody. I think you can just like stop scheduling them, and I don't know if something happens if you stop scheduling somebody consecutively, but I don't think you can actually fire anybody.
Orange Head sounds like a good Halloween movie.
I had side note, I had this idea for a horror movie about a pig human mutant hybrid who was killing people in the woods, and I was calling it Snort. And I was really proud of that, and I've got a lot of really good ideas for it. And I'm hoping to have an investor help me make that movie because I think I could do some really good things with it, based on all the horror movies that I've watched.
Fix killing. They'll probably make your movie.
Sure. And I played a little bit of I played this game that Kaylee's playing called called The Survivalists. When I say I played it, I mean I played it enough to help her do a thing in the game that required multiplayer. But it seems okay. She didn't like me calling it a baby ass baby game, but
Is it a baby ass baby game?
I guess not. Not really. I was just saying that to give her a hard
I
time.
bet it is.
But she loves it, so it's what makes her happy. But yeah, all this Yakuza I've been playing, I'm working my way through the series. Kiwami 2 uses the same engine from Yakuza 6. So I'm able to like throw guys through shop windows, and then like while they're like when they recover in the shop, they'll like grab a chair and come at me, and it's really neat. But yeah, it's a really fun, good looking game, and I'm looking forward to. I was looking forward to getting the next one immediately after beating this one, but Watch Dogs Legion comes out in a couple of days, and so I want to do that. So I'm probably just going to do that. I didn't know it was coming out that soon, but it is. So
That game, I'm happy you're excited for it, but I don't think I could be less interested in a game.
I'm just gonna go in there and be like, "Hello, governor. Let me see your computer," and I win. Right?
Sure. Plus, Ubisoft's been putting that pig head on everything.
Yeah, like that's not even like I'm just like, what is that?
Like, I get it. It's promotion for their new game, but like maybe I'm a Far Cry fan and I don't care about Watch Dogs, and now I got this pig head on my Far Cry.
Yeah. So, I would like to see some more of that Far Cry, because all I saw was that little trailer that they showed. But I'd like to see some actual gameplay for that game. But I like Watch Dogs enough to be excited about Legion, just based on how much I enjoyed Watch Dogs 2. I think that if I had not played Watch Dogs 2, I would probably be considerably less interested in Legion, because Watch Dogs 1 is not garbage, but it's not great. So
It doesn't need to rise from any graves.
no, 'cause they've got another game coming out.
You
In
can
a couple days.
you can just nap.
Yeah, take a little nip nap.
But yeah, I had something I was gonna say, but I forgot.
It's all right.
Was there anything else?
No peg.
All right. So I've been playing Caller X Malice, and then
What is that?
I have also it's a Tomy game, like a well-known one.
What is
And
the
then,
premise of that game? I'm curious.
Just fuck or die.
Is that literally
Whoa.
what it is? Like, if you don't fuck,
High
you die?
stakes.
No, it's just like I mean, it's like Japanese written, so there's just like a lot of backstory. But like premises like date somebody, go through the story, same as all of them.
Oh, well, I figured if you play so many of them,
but,
they're all unique in some way. So I just figured this one had like an interesting story
Yeah,
to it.
it's just
No.
No, all right.
A lot of them don't, man. Like, some of them do, sure. Sinead talked to us about, like, her fucking vampire boyfriends and all that shit, but, like, a lot of them are just, like, yeah, date somebody. Like, even, like, Huddleful Boyfriend, there's birds. You happen to be a human in a school of birds, but other than that, it's just date someone.
I see.
You know?
Oh, should I?
She's gone.
can you still hear
You've
me?
offended her.
Yeah. Oh, I can hear you.
Yeah.
But all we got is Discord symbol.
All right.
Yeah. Discordia.
Yeah. Disturbia, starring Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
That movie was a lot like Rear Window.
Yeah, and Transformers.
Yeah, there were actually no Transformers in that movie, unfortunately. So
Well, they were. They just didn't transform yet.
sure, I guess that could technically be true.
So the reason I went quiet is because I didn't really want to say the story because I know that y'all are gonna make fun of me. So I was like,
We
is there
are.
a synopsis somewhere?
I've
Is
never
there a
made fun of you,
synopsis
dude.
somewhere that like makes it sound like less than what it is? But essentially, you are a character who has like this like contraption around that's like your neck, and like you're trying to figure out like why and like what it does and like all this stuff, and like you have 5 police officers that you could date to help you figure it out. and not.
Is it like 999 except you have to date people?
I guess it's a pretty apt like description of it.
So
Yeah.
which cop do you have to fuck to win the game?
Any of them.
Oh,
You just gotta do it well enough to not die.
okay.
And then,
Get
and then,
those knee pads ready, Ryan.
Sure.
and then I think told y'all last week, or maybe I didn't, but I've played that like Phantasm game or whatever with Birdo and his friends.
Phantasm?
You told us.
And then it's super scary. And then I looked at it one more time. They're kind of getting over it. And then I've just been playing so much Divinity, and yeah, just doing that thing that I do with games where when I get really into something, like
Sure.
getting really into it.
You're taking the
But I'm
deep
trying-
dive.
But trying really hard still not to look at any like walkthroughs or anything for the most part. Every
have
now
been.
and then, every now and then, I will go look at like a specific quest and being like, so what am I missing? Because like the quest log that you have, it's not very like detailed about like what you need to do, or like, hey, I'm just like, did I do this thing to get to the next stop? Because it didn't say so. And they're like, oh yeah, you do the thing, and then you'll have to go to this area, and then it'll change. I'm like, okay, so like, I'm not done with it. I just didn't know that like there's a next thing, or that I
Tonight-
did the thing.
On PlayStation 5, you're going to be so good at games because it has that little help button that just shows you what to do.
Yeah.
Did you see that when like they showed
No,
the
I didn't.
demonstration? It's like, where's the hidden item? And they push the button that's supposed to give you a hint, and it's just a video showing you exactly where the item is. Like, man, Shanae's gonna love this.
The baby button.
I mean, I'll finally be good at games, which I appreciate.
Sure.
But I mean, if I'm gonna go for help, I don't want it to be that easy. I want to try a little bit. Like, pull
Yeah.
up Google, type in the thing, use a different thing than the thing I'm on. Like, I want it to have a couple steps, so I feel like I at least accomplished something by looking it up.
Sure.
But besides that, the only thing else that I've looked up, like besides like a few things, like, hey, did I finish this? Was a map of some of the areas of like the waypoints, because I'm like, and because sometimes they're a little bit hard to find, and I'm just like, and like you can use them to fast travel, and it's a lot of stuff, so I'm just like, I know that there's a thing here. There has to be. There isn't anything anywhere close to it. And so I'm like, where exactly? So I'll go and like look up a picture of exactly where a waypoint is. But I also don't feel like that's cheating necessarily.
Well, I mean, the waypoint's in the game. The map's in the game. Put the two together, you're just using what's in the game, baby. It's not cheating. So I
Map doesn't
approve.
tell you where the waypoint
As-
is until you find it.
As the Grand Marshal of video games, I approve of that strategy.
Yeah, one of them, if I had just walked a little bit closer to a tree, then it would have like activated it. But I just didn't see it, and it didn't activate it, and I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It'd
be like that
because
sometimes.
it's like a, I don't know if there's a term for it, but you control the camera different than you control the movement. Like when you do like WASD, it controls the camera, and then you just like click to the character where it is. So if they are by something and you're not necessarily looking at the right angle, because like you can flip it around,
Yeah.
sometimes it's hard to find things.
Yeah. I think the term for that is fiduciary duty. So
I mean, I don't think so, but like I don't know enough. You could be right. Where's the help button?
I'm right. Trust me.
And then Pokemon came out with a new DLC, and expands on what you can do with the multiplayer more. So I'm probably gonna play with a friend sometime this week.
So in what way does it expand it?
I don't know. Like the multiplayer stuff that was there before, you're not really like doing stuff with them except for raids.
Right.
But apparently he looked it up and he's like, hey, I forgot the explanation he gave me, but there's more like adventure stuff that we can do together,
Horde
and it's
mode.
not just more like same
Dude,
things.
that'd be cool. Pokemon Horde mode? I'd be into that.
Yeah. I mean, they have
Deathmatch.
I know.
Hell yeah.
So they
Battle
they have
Royale.
Kill
what,
confirmed.
Battle Royale.
Yeah, kill confirmed
Uh,
with Pokemon.
But this week, though, Ryan, you wanted us to talk about our favorite games from the last 20 years.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just we're 20 years into this into the 21st century. A lot of video games have come out during the last 2 decades, and I wanted to know, of all the games that you played over the last 20 years, which were your favorites? Um, and I requested of you guys. I believe I said 10 favorites, 10 of your favorites from the last 20 years, and I wanted to see what really stood out for you guys. So that's really where I was going with it.
It's a funny
Tom?
conversation to be had because, like, and I almost feel like the episode will just be us talking about the same games we're always talking about, you know?
Yeah.
But that's okay.
You
That's
might,
okay.
I might surprise you,
I mean, I'm sure I've got one or two on here that I don't bring up often, you
but
know?
I might not. So
Yeah. Well, surprise me,
Yeah.
Ryan.
you'll
I
be
don't think I have any
surprised.
in here that are surprising.
Well, you know what? That's okay because if they're your favorites, they're your favorites. You know, no one can police that. I will not try to police that, and I want you guys to feel like you can openly talk about the things that you love
I'm going to
without.
criticize everything you say.
You always have, Tom, and that's okay. You know, that's all right. I'm used to it. So, uh, since since uh, since you know we're on the topic, who's gonna go first?
Tom?
All right. Well, are we going to go through, like, all of ours in one go, or are we going to rotate, or what do you guys want to do?
Shanae's the host.
I say I say we do each of our list and then move to
God.
the next.
Okay. Well, I don't have these in any particular order. All right. So I'm going to go through a bunch that you guys have already heard me talk about a billion times.
That's okay.
Uh, Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, Shanae, you played it. I know you had it.
Baby mode.
Well, sure. Yes, you did baby mode, but, like, you still played it.
Did you have a good time
Yeah.
playing it in baby mode?
Yeah, I did actually. Um, it's still a platformer, so it's not necessarily my idea of a good time. But even in baby mode, I did realize it's it's well made,
Hmm.
and like I do see why if I had played it on the normal difficulty, why Tom would have liked it.
Yeah.
I don't like it for its difficulty. Like,
Well, I mean, like I'm saying like if I had played like you like some of a challenge to be there. You like there to be
sure, sure.
like
I don't
it's
want to
very
walk through the
structured.
game.
Yeah, like you like it to be like pretty structured on certain things. And I don't know, it just seems like a like yeah, I get why Tom likes this. I don't know how to put it into words, but I'm saying like if the game was only funky mode, you would not have liked it.
No, well, there would be things I would have liked about it, sure, but no, it wouldn't have been that important to me. Uh, I just think as far as 2D platformers go, there's really nothing that comes super close, you know, unless, like, I don't know, like I played through Celeste. I liked Celeste a lot, you know. I played a lot of Meat Boy and Spelunky and things like that, but, like, if the only thing about your game is that it's hard, I don't really care.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a bad game.
But you
Honestly.
still want it to be a challenge, just not like that's the only redeeming
And I'm
feature
not
of it.
saying that, like, that's the only thing about those games. I'm just saying, like, this
Sure.
game does so much, you know?
Yeah.
Silent Hill 2, you know, 'tis the season for scary stuff. You guys know I like Silent Hill 2 a lot.
Yeah.
Really, nothing surprising there.
You like that, James?
Shadow of the Colossus,
Oh.
Nier Automata,
Oh.
Odin Sphere.
Wait,
You
you're-
guys have heard me talk about all those games
Really?
probably way too much.
Well,
So let's talk about games I don't talk about a whole lot.
okay.
Control.
Oh,
Control is a newer game, but I don't know. There's something about it really stuck with me. I've liked Remedy for a long time,
Yeah.
and I like the universe that they've been building towards. Control really brings a lot of that together
Sure.
in really cool ways. I don't think, like, the game's got a lot of problems.
Yeah.
Its combat isn't fantastic.
No.
It's not bad by any means, but like there's nothing
It's
to write
functional.
home about. It's got some real bad frame rate problems,
Yeah.
but it's just so creative, and I like the writing. And it's rare these days that I find a Western game that really speaks to me.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think my favorite thing about Control, and I think I've said this before, is Control is like the exact kind of weird that I like. Like
yeah,
like all the stuff with the objects of power and all that stuff, like all that stuff is like just so cool. And like I was online a few days ago and I heard someone saying I read someone saying that like one of the I don't remember the whole criticism they had of the game, but it was like uh they were like having a female protagonist isn't enough to make your game interesting. And I remember looking at that. I was like, if you thought that that was the supposed to be the interesting part of that game, then you weren't really paying attention to any of the other shit
Or
going
you didn't
on.
play it.
Yeah.
yeah. So like Jesse's gender really does not matter. Like the gender of the protagonist in that game matters nothing
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Really, she's like, does she have a personality? Yeah, sorta. She has a personality. She's really just kind of a vessel for the player. You know?
Yeah. I think like all the cool stuff about Control is all the stuff happening around Jesse.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, Control. The oldest house also, I think, is a very cool setting.
Yeah.
Bayonetta. Bayonetta, of all the character action games, I come back to Bayonetta probably more than the rest.
Yeah.
The first Bayonetta. I know a lot of people prefer the second. I prefer the first game. I don't know. There's just something good about it. Like it's a good sweet spot, right? Like it's not as complicated as something like Metal Gear Rising, or fuck, what did we talk about last week? Ninja Gaiden, right?
Yeah.
Like Ninja Gaiden's way harder, but like it's complex enough, and more so than those games, it feels like a fighting game.
Yeah.
Where you're just learning things and stringing together combos and practicing to get better, really for yourself, because it's not like you're playing against anybody
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Does a game
But,
like I've never really played Bayonetta. Like I played Bayonetta like with you one time, like for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Does a game make it apparent? Like at any point is that stuff like required? Like learning those inputs or
I mean, you're gonna have an easier time going through the game if you learn all that stuff.
yeah.
But you can just square triangle your way through the entire game.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to be good to beat Bayonetta.
Yeah.
You have to be good to get good scores at
Sure.
Bayonetta, but just to beat the game, it's not hard.
Yeah, character action games I've always felt like
But-
are like a large part of character action games is like the spectacle that the player can create if they actually get creative with
Yeah.
the inputs. So and Bayonetta, from I watching other people play it, that game looks really cool.
Yeah, it's a great game. Holds up. Metroid Zero Mission. So Metroid Zero Mission is probably my favorite remake ever.
Yeah.
Probably.
Which
I
one is that a
like-
remake of? I'm sorry.
It's a remake of the first Metroid.
I see. Okay.
I like obviously I like the Resident Evil remakes, all three of them now, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of remakes. I mean, fucking Mario All Stars, right? There's a ton of remakes I like, but yeah, Zero Mission. If you go back and play the first Metroid, it's kind of a bitch to go back to,
Yeah.
Like it's hard to go back and play that first game.
I can't imagine trying to play that game as a kid when it came out.
Yeah, and all Metroid Zero Mission really does is I mean, obviously visually it looks better, right? It brings it up to the visuals of something like Super Metroid.
Yeah.
But it just gives you the little comforts that you come to know with Super Metroid and with Metroid Fusion and the later Metroid games.
Yeah.
Things like having access to a mini map and you using shoulder buttons to tilt your aim up and down and all that. It's just fantastic, and I really like the art style for it. Super colorful, Game Boy Advance. Metroid Zero Mission. CVS 2, I've talked about a lot recently on the show, especially because Ryan and I are getting super into fighting games
Oh
and all
man,
that, you know.
oh man, that's such a fantastic game.
It might be my favorite fighting game. I don't know. I
So
go back
good.
between a few different games, but it was released in the last 20 years. I double checked.
Yeah, so good.
And yeah, it's just such a fun game. The groove system is expanded upon significantly from the first game, and I think like that alone is just so interesting.
Yeah,
Because you could have a team of the same three characters. Even if the ratio system wasn't there, you could have a team of the same three characters and play them completely differently from anybody, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, super cool game. A little bit lazy on the sprite work, but that's
But
just,
it still
that's what
looks
Capcom does.
looks so good though.
Yeah, a
And-
little bit lazy. Still using that Morgan sprite.
Yeah,
You know?
but when I
But-
went over to your house, gosh, what was it, like a month or so ago?
Yeah.
And when we sat down and played, like it felt like that game immediately just felt awesome. Like that game is so
Yeah.
good.
And like I really don't think, when I look at a lot of these older fighting games like CVS or Third Strike, I really, it makes me sad because I don't think that there are any fighting games that are as good or as interesting as those games that are fucking 20 years old now.
Yeah.
The last game is Stories Untold. Stories Untold is probably a pretty good Halloween game. It's a little spooky, kind
It's
of.
pretty spooky.
And oddly enough, it's coming to consoles tomorrow.
I
as
did
of this
not know
recording. Came out on PC. I mean, a few years back. We
Mhm.
played it probably 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, look, if all you have is a PlayStation or an Xbox, sure, play it there. But I would say play it on a PC because the whole thing is set at like different terminals,
Yeah.
and it just is more immersive that way. Whereas on PlayStation and Xbox, you're gonna be playing with your controller and selecting from like different options, whereas the game originally is done with a keyboard and mouse.
Yeah.
Just feels more immersive, more natural. So the game is broken up into 4 different episodes, I believe.
Yeah.
Each putting the player in a different scenario, and they're really weird, man. You start off with like sort of an old school text adventure type of game, and then you've got like these weird terminals where you're having to follow these very intricate directions.
Yeah.
To try to figure out what it is you're doing, and it goes from there. But like, it's interesting because you don't really know what the game is about until you beat the game, and like, I don't know that I've ever played a game that is about what Stories Untold is about, and it does it in a very interesting way, and it's a much sadder game than you would expect it to be.
Yeah.
You expect it to be a fucking, a Halloween game, and it does the whole fucking Stranger Things vibe with the
Yeah.
font and the music and
Yeah.
shit, right? And I don't like that shit at all, but like, it just does it so well. It's super sad. If you want to get depressed and you have addiction problems, play Stories Untold.
I think I liked one of the things I consistently enjoy about that game is just like as you're doing these things, there's like this. I remember feeling like the sense of like I remember feeling tense and like there's some kind of ominous dread lingering over you, but like you don't really know what it is, but like it always seems like you're moving towards something, and but like you said, it doesn't like you're never like it's left pretty ambiguous until the conclusion, but that game was very immersive, and like I remember we did we were playing it, and I came in at the point where you were at that like complicated computer thing, and like I remember we were like sitting there like trying to read the instructions and work it, and like we got to the point where like, are we stupid? Or
Yeah, no,
like what's
like,
going on?
There are several times throughout that game where I fucking Googled the answer,
Yeah.
But
Needed
like,
that help button.
Yeah, for sure I did. You know, I don't. And it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't make the game any less good. If you can figure that
Yeah,
stuff out on your own, I'm sure it would be more rewarding. But it's not the type of game that you're supposed to be getting a one up or a flag post or a fucking high score. You know, like
Yeah.
it's not that type of game. Uh,
yeah.
you know, and it's very very good. Um, it's short. It's very brief, but you know, if you're into these artsy games that like have a message and all that,
Yeah.
play it. It's really cool.
Yeah. I like it.
Uh, I'll go next.
Cool.
Or is that? Sorry, I thought you said that was the last game on there, or was there more? Sorry.
No, that's 10. Yeah, that's 10. I didn't go in depth on all of them because you guys have heard me talk about 5 of them way too much. So,
Yeah, mine are also not in any particular order, and some of them being my favorite isn't necessarily the game itself, but the good time that I've had with that game, or like I could still have. Um, so I have like Knights of the Old Republic, not the online, but the OG version of it.
online
Um,
is just called the Old Republic.
yeah, I always forget what like people call it, but I say KOTOR, and they're like, oh, so like was playing this. I'm like, that's not what
No,
I played.
no,
No,
girl. Yeah.
that's not what I'm talking about. Fucking idiot.
That's when
Um,
that's when you give them an actually.
Yeah.
All right.
actually, I also have Pokemon Soul Silver on here because OG Pokemons came out before 2000. And I still, yeah, I had a really hard time remembering if and I could have just looked it up, but I didn't. If some of the Legend Zeldas that I like hold near and dear, I'm like, did that come out before? I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna skip it.
Well, what is
And then,
what's special about Soul Silver exactly? What stands out about that one?
well,
Well,
first
she
it's
wants silver, but
Sure.
Soul Silver is just like a pretty. It's fucking Metroid Zero mission for Pokemon Silver, you know?
What? Wait,
it's just a redone version of it, but like
Yeah.
I
the
see.
game already existed. But even Silver came out before after 2000.
Okay.
So, as far as it goes, I kind of skipped the like leaf green and like fire red like generation at the time, and I went and so like I stopped playing like newer Pokemon games. Oh, well, at the time, like until Soul Silver, and then I got back into it, and it just kind of like it reminded me of why I loved the series to begin with, why I had like red, blue, and yellow, and why I and like that all the changes to it were pretty new for me because it had skipped a couple generations. I think like two. Um, and yeah, I just really liked what they had done with the series, and it was and just the amount of time that I put into it and those moments of like victory when like I played somebody that was like super hard because this is before I could like easily like Google stuff and like of different techniques, and even then I wasn't doing it for this game. Like yeah, I just remember all of the amazing times I had with it and like wanting to talk to people about it like all the time.
Yeah.
I like some of the like affection stuff they did differently, the new evolutions at that point. Um, yeah, no, I just great. I mean, it's a great game. Um, God of War as well. I really
The
liked
new
the new
one?
God. Yeah, because like I wanted to put the whole franchise, but I haven't played the whole franchise. Also, I couldn't
Yeah.
remember when God of War the first one came out.
2005.
Okay, so then also that too, because up until the third one, where you gave everyone hope, I loved that series. I mean, I still do, obviously, and I just think that was a bad ending.
Yeah.
But that's pretty common apparently for me. That I have it a lot with a lot of series I like. But yeah, no, like I never really played the like I don't want to call it a brawler, but I guess like an action adventure game kind of like that, where it was like it felt that like even on the like PS2 when I played it, like I don't remember any game before that feeling that was like that viscerally like violent. and where I was like, I'm a fucking badass.
I'd call
Like,
it a brawler. I think
Yeah.
that's a good term for it.
He brawls, man.
Yeah.
That game's even got a combo counter and everything.
I mean, there's times I felt cool in games, but the entire time I played God of War 1 and 2, I was like, I'm a motherfucking badass.
Yeah.
Hey, no one can fuck with me. And there's games that I played, I'm like, this is a cool character, but I never felt like I was doing it. I don't know, it just like something clicked with me where I just like really like dug it. I was like, I don't give a
What's
fuck
funny
about
is like
humanity.
you saying you didn't care for the ending of one of them is like, I don't really think that that's what they were going for with those first few games. I don't think they really gave a shit about story, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, like the
Fuck
game
the
was
gods,
a spectacle,
fuck the
you know?
humans.
Like the series was a spectacle, really.
Yeah, make him
You
yell
know?
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
And then with the revamp of the new God of War, I really enjoyed it. I've talked about it on the show. I've talked about it with Ryan. Like I liked that I still had that feeling where like I'm a badass, but it's like now it's like I'm a badass dad.
Yeah.
And this little shit is gonna come on with me on my adventures, and he's eventually gonna be a good kid.
Yeah.
And I really liked all of the small interactions and the world building they did, and how like much it referenced the older games but still having new mechanics and new weapons and new enemies, and it didn't feel like, oh, they just put like a skin on something new. Like it didn't feel like you're in a new world and that this is the logical step for Kratos.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like that a lot. And I just like kicking God's asses apparently. So
Yeah.
like
Kill God.
still down for it. I also put uh Mystic Messenger on there. It's one of my Atome games. It is the one where you like it's on your phone and like it's like a chat room and like you have to check on the app at certain times.
Yeah.
Otherwise you miss the conversation. You have to go and pay for it. I think that's super unique. I've never seen a Atome game do that like that before or after. And it's super well done. The characters are pretty fleshed out. It's made by Charitz, who I constantly talk about how great their games are. Um, I also have another Atome on here, Akuki. It's one of the ninja ones, but they take like actual historic figures and make them sexy. Uh, but I mean, not all of them are actual like people. I think in some of the because there's like a bunch of different ones in the series, but they're all like the same people. It's just like different events and stuff, and it's just super well made. The story actually differs on which route you choose, and you can just tell that they put a lot of thought into the series. Um, I also have World of Warcraft on there. I will probably never play that game again,
You shouldn't.
but like I can't deny.
Play it.
No.
Play it.
It'll.
I have addiction issues,
Sure.
Play
and I will never play that game again. I will
Pablo's
never
playing
play.
it.
What?
Pablo's been playing it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's She doesn't know who Pablo is, Tom.
That's a big game there. Some World of Warcraft.
Yeah, I remember. I actually I logged into World of Warcraft like late 2017, early 2018, and I pulled up one of my characters. I was like, I remember how to play this. Let's go. And then like everything was different, and I was like, what is this? They gave me like, do you want to start at level 100 whatever, and get all and just and I'm like, sure, yeah, I'll do that. And I was just completely lost. I was like, you know what? Uninstall.
Yeah, like Berto plays it, and he was really excited for the new expansion. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to see my husband for a month. Cool,
Sure.
whatever. I have my own hobbies. That's fine. I
Yeah.
don't need him around.
It's me time.
But like, and I see him play it still, and I'm just like, the part of me that had such a great time and met people and had like all these adventures and like
And
even just
got
like
banned.
I mean, even with the bannings of multiple times, like
Whoa, I didn't know it was more than once.
That's
Wow, Sinead's an internet bad boy.
I got a leather jacket in the closet. I can put it on.
Cool.
But yeah, like I can't deny that it's been it deserves a place on my favorites list. because even though I cannot control myself when I play it, because I will just play it and do nothing else in my life,
Yeah.
the fact that it can do that to me, I think, and like and I'll play it and I'll still be doing different things. It's not like Animal Crossing where I acknowledge them doing the same things all the time.
Yeah.
Uh, but like, yeah, I don't know. It just the MMO community can sometimes be pretty great.
Yeah. I've
I
I've
also
experienced those
have
little pockets of greatness, but most of the time they're trash.
fair on that. Um, I also have Kingdom Hearts 2 because Kingdom Hearts 1 was before 2000.
Was it?
Really?
Yeah, it
Wow.
was. It was like
No
it was
That's
way.
97 or
surprising.
99.
No way. Kingdom Hearts.
No
No way. I
way.
think Kingdom Hearts 1 was like
No, you know what?
2002.
It came out. I think it came out 2001. You're right. It was supposed to come out in 1999.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's too many polygons for late
Yeah.
'90s.
Yeah.
No, but it came out. Yeah, came out 2002.
Yeah. But like, if it came out in the 90s, that would predate the PlayStation 2, so there's no way.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. You're right.
So,
Like I said, I should have Googled these. But yeah, Kingdom Hearts series, all of them. You know,
yeah.
I love it.
You love them.
Um, I also have Xenoblade Chronicles on there. It's
The
probably
whole
it was
series?
definitely I would say I mean 2 is the reason I bought a Wii U. So yeah, I mean I enjoy the whole series, but not all of the whole series was like after 2000. But I've never played a Xenoblade game that I haven't really liked, and I don't know, they just like they're not really that different from other JRPGs, but there's just something about it, like the world or the storytelling that just like clicks with me.
I like, Xenoblade Chronicles, like that. The combat in that game feels. I don't know. I've played a lot of JRPGs, and I know that there are other games that have like a similar combat style, but like for it to be all about positioning, uh, is just very unique to me. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I like small detailed stuff that I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, I can do this. So like
Sure,
it
sure,
appeals to me.
sure. But like where you are matters really more, not more than anything, but it matters a lot more than it does in other than in most other JRPGs that are not like strategy turn based. You
Yeah.
know.
Um, and I think that kind of like lends itself to why I put this game on the list is I'm gonna I'm gonna put out there Divinity Original Sin 2, like that I've been playing. And it's not just because I've
Sure.
been playing it, but it is similar like with the characters you have and what positions and like things you can do, just the amount of like crowd control options, like stories, how they go, how you interact with people, like you can get like titles like heroes and villains, and it's just I've never played anything that feels like D&D turned into a video game where like to this point where it's enjoyable. And the fact that the game can be easily broken, I love that. I love that you can play it where you get no armor and you just put all your points into telekinesis and just wreck the game.
Sure.
I don't know, I think the story's great in it, the voice acting. There's only one area where I want to kill somebody, and I feel like that's pretty uncommon for a lot of like RPGs that I play. Because normally you hear the same like background chatter.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. Like I like that each character does like in the game feels like, oh yeah, this person's in the town and they're related to these people, and like you come across it so often, or it's like, oh yeah, this is an actual community. Like I never felt that with Skyrim. I'm trying to think of like other like really accredited like RPGs. Like of course none of like the Final Fantasies or anything like that. Like I've never like even Fallout. I didn't feel like everyone had a place or like a story. Like
Bethesda's writing is not
It's
fantastic.
trash.
it's not.
Yeah.
Trash.
So I like I said, I thought it was gonna be something different, but I've been really pleasantly surprised, and I think the game's amazing. Like I think it's a really really well made game.
Yeah. That's good.
Noise. Very nice.
Oh wait, oh I know, I missed one. I was only 9. I also put on there Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Brawl of all of them,
That
Brawl.
was that the
It's
Wow,
my favorite.
Wii one?
My
Which
favorite,
one
not
was? That was
that was
after
Wii.
the one after Melee, right?
Yeah, Brawl is Wii.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
we.
Wow.
I almost put Halo 3, but for the same reasons. It's Brawl is like the one, or for like similar reasons. Brawl is the one that I got into. I never played Smash before that. Not really. Like maybe here or there one game. Like I maybe played. I know I played less than 5 games of all the other Smash Brothers. Um, and yeah, like I started playing with a group of friends back in Louisiana. Came back, like moved to Texas. Some of Verto's and now mine's like really close friends. They would play all the time and they would play all night and like we would create our own rules. And yeah, it was like one of the few times the fighting game where I was like, I know it's like a different than like Street Fighter and Tekken, that I like regularly played it and would be like, man, I want to get better. Like Tekken,
Yeah.
just, I mean, I played with my dad and that was it. So there's not really big competition there.
Way to call
My
your
kids are
dad
finally
out.
But,
getting to that point with Ultimate. Like they're trying to get better at the game. But yeah, Brawl. It's just like it makes sense that you're talking about playing it with like family and friends and all that because like yeah, that is the worst Smash Brothers game.
So what makes Brawl bad?
But
Exactly?
I can
'Cause-
acknowledge,
Yeah.
I can acknowledge that people think that. From what I've heard, criticisms is balance, maps, and
Oh.
characters. So everything in the
Yeah,
game.
so like he really tried to like make Brawl the game. Like that was so after Melee, like his response to Melee was to make it more of a party game
I
and
see.
less of a fighting game. Which is why you run into all like the random trips and falls and things like that. You know, like there's a level of just randomness added into that game that makes it not really a competitive game. You
Sure.
know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is funny because with Ultimate, he starts talking about like now they've got like a training stage, like a proper fighting game training stage, and here's frame data and all that shit. You know,
Yeah.
like he very much like backpedaled on that type of mentality. But
It's like the party aspect of like the regular game and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
plenty of crazy maps. But and I like Ultimate. I've talked about it. I still
Yeah.
play it. Still have a friend come over every now and then, like every 2-3 weeks, and we'll play it. But yeah, I don't know. I just like Brawl is the first one where it was like those like make your own rules things because like I don't really think I played that with like did that much with any other video game. At least not with a group of friends. Like maybe like
Hey.
one best friend.
if Brawl's the one, Brawl's the one. You know,
Yeah.
nothing wrong
When
with
you
that.
know, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, what about you, Ryan?
All right, so I'm gonna just get this one
Dirty
out.
good list. It's your topic.
Ooh, ha. Okay, so I'm gonna get this one out of the way. So I got No Man's Sky on there. I've talked about that game a million times. It's funny because when I was putting this list together, I was thinking when I put that on there, I was thinking about all the different space games that I've played, and I feel like for the last few years I've been on this quest to find like the space game for me, because they're all missing something. But I feel like out of all of them, that game has gotten the closest to what I'm looking for, in terms of like exploration and like player agency and things like that. But yeah, so
Get on that Star Citizen, baby.
dude, so if I could for a moment, so there's an expansion coming out for Elite Dangerous early next year called it's called Elite Dangerous Odyssey, where for the first time in the history of Elite, you'll be able to exit your ship, walk around space stations, walk around on planets, and there's actually going to be some like first-person shooter gameplay implemented. So
Oh, I think I might take the spot for No Man's Sky for you.
Yeah.
You've done well.
yeah, and I think like, and that's what I was telling one of my friends that I know that plays that game as well. Like I was like, I'm tempering my expectations because I don't want to get my hopes built way up, and just that whole thing just be a fart. But we'll see. I'm gonna buy it either way. So
OG game so much, and you played that for such a long time. I think that there's a high chance of you enjoying it. Even if it's not your exact expectations, I think you're probably going to enjoy it.
Yeah, so I think there's going to be a lot to enjoy. But anyway, I digress. The next one I have is Mortal Kombat 9, which is like, um,
Yep.
I felt like that game was so. It was like a. It was such a breath of fresh air for that franchise to me, after the previous games in the series, like Deadly Alliance, Deception, and Armageddon. I liked them okay. Actually, I didn't like Armageddon, but you know I liked Deception quite a bit.
No one liked Armageddon.
Yeah, like it's a bad game. But I like Deception quite a bit for for it being for what it was. But when Mortal Kombat 9 just felt like just it felt like it was perfect, and like Mortal Kombat returning to its 2D roots with just updated combat, and like the combos were just insane. The reimagining of all these characters, and like giving me like the origins of like Cyrax and Sector and like all this stuff. It was just like a great game. And I would say that honestly, it's probably, I would consider it to be a more interesting game than Mortal Kombat 11. But when that game first came out, I just played so much of it. Don't get me wrong, I got my ass kicked online all the time. I'm like 0 and 150, but it's just like a great. I love that game, and just like the idea of kind of going back to what like the original trilogy of Mortal Kombat, and congealing that all into one game, and then having like building on that lore, like moving forward, was something I thought was really cool.
9 felt like how you remember 3 feeling.
Yeah, absolutely.
And obviously 3 is a bad game, but back then it felt pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, well, at the same time, like when 3 came out, like they were doing so many different. They put so many new things in there. Like,
just shit, the running and the way that combos worked.
Like running and combos, and like they were like, hey, there's level transitions now, and like all this other shit. But going back to play 3, I remember we played 3 like maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago. And I was like, I don't like this, because it's just like I remember looking at the move list. I was like, how do you do anything in this game? But it still has a special place, I think. The next one is Splinter Cell Conviction. That's by far,
right?
Huh?
That was on 360, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would say that out of people will disagree with me, but that is my favorite game in the franchise. I just felt like out of all the games in the Splinter Cell series that I played, that was the one that made me most feel like a badass, with like the way that the stealth moves worked, the way that the gunplay worked. It just all blended together like so well for me. I liked being able to like tag a bunch of guys and like do like consecutive headshots on them, like in slow motion. That shit looked cool. And it was just like I've always been a fan of like it's not quite, I like revenge stories, but it's not quite a revenge story, but it's like more like I just found out my daughter's not dead, and now I gotta find the guys who like set up this conspiracy against me, and like all this other shit. And it's really neat. And also Sam Fisher's just fucking cool, and it sucks that, Ubisoft has been dicking him around for so long, but I think Sam Fisher's just fucking great. Next one is Walking Dead Season 1, from the Telltale Games series.
Yep. It makes you cry every time.
Yeah, but I also think that it's just like the one where I felt like I cared about the characters the most. Now, I played.
Well, that's why you cry.
Yeah. And I think Clementine is a great character, but playing as her in season 2 was really cool. But like, what really resonated with me with her as a character is the way her chemistry with Lee, and their back and forth, and like the story beats that they established together. I just think that The Walking Dead season 1 just hit all these like correct notes, whereas season 2 was like really more hit or miss with me. But it was also the first, I guess, the first adventure game that I had played where I felt like, one, it's a dumbing down of adventure games because it's a really easy game to get through. So it was like the first adventure game that I ever actually finished, just because of that fact. But
it's the first time Telltale did that too.
Yeah,
like all their games before that were like proper point and click games,
like Sam and Max and shit like that. But
and then they did well with that, and then
they just drove it into the ground.
Yeah.
Wait, Jurassic Park was after Telltale's? I thought it was before.
It was before Walking Dead. Jurassic Park was before Walking Dead.
You know what I mean. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I thought that's not a point and click.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is. And there's more puzzles in that game than there are in The Walking Dead or The Wolf Among Us or Tales from the Borderlands.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might be mixing it up with a different Jurassic Park game I played then.
Yeah.
But
they all kind of blend in my mind. I'm like, yeah, this is the franchise. I'm playing this game.
Yeah, and honestly, I just as like me as a player, like I was glad that they like simplified that shit because it helped me to actually experience the story. Because if they hadn't, I probably wouldn't have gotten through that game, and I wouldn't have seen all the stuff that I'd seen in that game. So, I really appreciated it. And next up, I have Dead Space.
Oh, this is a good option.
That's a good.
That's a good.
Yeah, Dead Space is just fucking cool, man. Like, it really is. Just so many horror influences in that game, and then they just everything about that. I just love everything about that game. Like just the atmosphere, and like that game does some awesome stuff with sound. And it's just it's just consistently creepy.
It was the first one that. The first one I can remember, like, it specifically is better if you have surround sound.
Yeah.
Like, if you have, like, an actual surround sound system or a good headset.
Yeah.
It's the first one I can think of, like, where it's, like, it actually, like, that is part of the... I don't want to say experience, because, like, there's other games that are like that, too. But it is, like, more necessary than, like, other, like, horror adventure games.
Yeah.
Because it's not really a shooter, but like of course it matters when you play like first-person shooters online and stuff because you need to hear the sounds everywhere. But it doesn't feel like I mean you know what I mean.
Sure.
Hopefully.
I think like the Ishimura really makes that game.
Yeah.
Really more than the Necromorphs or Isaac or any of that stuff.
Very Event Horizon vibes.
Yeah, sort of. I could see that. But like. Was it as interesting to you guys as it was to me? I remember when that game was first being marketed, the fact that like shooting the limbs was more important than shooting the heads. I thought was mind blowing to me at the time. Like, shoot the limbs.
I mean,
that sounds so fucking dumb now.
On its face, on its face, like it's interesting because it's just like it's turning a core tenet of shooters like on its head. It's like no, don't shoot for the head, shoot them in the legs or the arms or like whatever the fuck. But at a certain point, as you're going through the game, it starts to feel kind of like now it's just a mechanical thing that you do now.
Sure.
But like
at least a variety where it's not the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Also, the stomp got kind of old.
Yeah. But I've been watching a friend of mine.
Not as bad as Dead Island.
I've been watching a friend of mine play through that game on her stream, and as I've been watching it, I've just been like, man, this game is fucking cool. Like it's just a cool game. And honestly, there aren't that many games I enjoy watching someone play, but it's that game's for me. That game is even fun to watch. And also watching someone who's going through it for the first time and like watching them freak out worse than I do is really funny.
I was like, well, also like you're not as scared because you're not controlling it, so you're not as immersed in it. You're casually watching it too.
And I love Isaac. He's a good man.
There's a video of us playing that game a few Halloweens ago.
A few haunts ago.
And there's this section early on in the game where like the guy's gonna get up.
Yeah.
We've all played the game at this point.
Yeah.
We know the guy's gonna get up.
Yeah.
And Ryan's still scared.
Hey, it's like I told
I
you.
love
I feel
it.
like I mentioned this at the time. It's like when you put the toast in the toaster, you know it's gonna pop up every time, but it still startles you when it happens. You know, so
I mean,
Can't
uh,
say that it startles.
well,
I guess if you're a baby.
Yeah.
yeah, I've been called worse, but
Also, I just remember with like, sorry, real quick, like I remember when 2 came out, like it was a big thing that like GameStop did the like inflatable like gun thing that you
what?
have in
The
there,
cutter. Yeah.
Is it
the
inflatable?
cutter.
Oh, okay.
And but I just remember that being like the turning point where people like where they were doing more DLC weapons as pre-order
Oh
bonuses.
yeah.
And
It was right around that
so like
time.
so people are like, "Oh, so like am I gonna get this like the gun?" I know, and I thought it was gonna be like an actual like because like some of the display stuff had like people holding like inflatable ones,
Yeah.
or they thought it was gonna be some actual like thing, and I was like,
Right.
no, no, no,
GameStop will
No,
give you an
it's in
actual
the game,
firearm.
it's in
we're
the
gonna give
game.
you a code on your receipt, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
Um,
it was in the booklet for the pre-order versions. It had a little tag on there and stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean I just remember this for that time the amount of people that asked me like not even just for Dead Space but like mini games like oh like I was supposed to get like a gun thing and I assume that some of them things like a keychain and not like an actual gun or like
Yeah.
I assume they never like specify but I was just like it's a digital thing. They're like oh so I don't like get something I'm like
Digital dong.
no 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 it's a digital thing. Get the
You
fuck out
should
of
have
my
just
line, you
had been
goddamn
the
idiot.
super soaker. Yeah.
You know, and I'm also,
Well,
you know, even for like, Dead Space 3 is like laden with like late 2000s microtransactions bullshit, but I still love that game. I like that game a whole lot, but
I never
um,
played. I don't think I played the third because it's the second one where you like wake up in the
yeah,
little straight
yeah,
jacket, right?
yeah,
First one's the only one that matters. Or actually, the rail shooter was really good too. What was that? Extraction?
yeah, Extraction, yeah.
Extraction was good.
Yeah.
They had that on the Wii though too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did.
Um, Next
And Skate 3, he's in that game. So
is he like in his
yeah,
suit?
you can play as Isaac in Skate 3.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I like that.
And you can turn the pedestrians into zombies. It's dumb, but it's fun.
um, Next is Perfect Dark for the Nintendo 64.
What? That was
Yeah.
after 2000?
Yeah. No, it was actually
Wow.
right at 2000.
That's crazy.
But yeah, like, you know, I think a lot of the times when people talk about shooters on the N64, a lot of the memories are centered around GoldenEye, which rightfully so. That game is
Yep.
that game touched a lot of people. But like for me, Perfect Dark was the one that I spent like that was the shooter on N64 that I stayed up all night playing. Like I like stayed like I would have like I would stay up all night playing that with my friends and like shooting like fighting the Sims as they were called. And that game it was just really
Like
fun.
with the thing on their head?
No, not those Sims.
Okay.
This was before those Sims were conceived. No, maybe not. I don't remember. But it was it was just like it was that with that game called Bots. That's what those were. But like it was just fun because that game had like so many cool weapons and like all these different game variants that you could play. Like there's like a hacker game variant where you got to protect someone hacking into the computer while other people are shooting at them, and I thought that was really neat. The laptop gun will always be rad.
So on Perfect Dark and GoldenEye, people always talk about the multiplayer in those games, which, like, rightfully so for the time,
Yeah,
facility and all that.
yeah,
But, like, what I think is so cool about the single player of those games that, like, shooters still fail to do to this day is, like, the difficulty drastically changes what
Yes.
you're doing.
Yeah. Like,
and that's so fucking awesome.
Like if you're not
You
playing
know?
at a certain difficulty, there are just parts of the map that you just don't see.
Yeah.
And that was really
And like, I don't understand why shooters got away from that.
yeah. And that was also a game that required you to have an expansion pack to play the campaign, which I was fine with. Like I was okay with it because I had to have everything. Even still like that game, like once the explosions ramped up in that game, that the frame rate in that game just fucking took a dump every time, but it was still like super fun. But yeah, I love Perfect Dark. And I remember they re-released it on the 360. And it was still just as fun. So, And then next I have Doom 2016.
Obs.
There's not really anything I can say about that game that I haven't already said. It's fantastic. It's
Nope.
a great. It's a very well balanced, very fun, very fast shooter that I really really love. And
It is
I
known.
yes, and I hope that the next Doom has. I hope that the next Doom feels a bit closer to that one. Doom Eternal is not a bad game. It's just not as fun to me as Doom 2016. I love it.
Same.
I love that game a lot. Then
Next on the list.
Fallout New Vegas. So
Not surprising.
what I like about Fallout New Vegas is that it of all the open world RPGs that I've played, it's one of the few that does a pretty good job of not giving you letting you kind of carve your own path and not giving you like this fucking urgent thing like hanging over your head all the time, and like just kind of just being able to experience the world without like having to constantly think about that. Like that was a problem to me with Fallout 4, was just like I could be doing all this other shit, but I'm supposed to be looking for my son right now.
It's like every Bethesda Softworks game, man. Like Obsidian's got that shit on lock, you know.
It's just like I want to be able to do this thing and like not have to think about the fact that I have to look for my son or find my dad, you know.
It's like they're doing storylines for very linear games while not having it be a linear like gameplay.
Yeah, and I do think that like the whole let me find my dad and or son would work very much in like in a smaller scope, but to me,
because it creates tension and like a drive for it rather than exploring the world.
Work
and,
in
like,
a larger world. The problem is like we talked about when Sinead's talking about. Oh, I don't remember. You were talking about some game. You're talking about Divinity. You know, like the problem is the writing. The writing on all those side quests are so fucking dumb. It's like, why would you do that in that situation? Why would you do that?
Like, I don't have time to help you paint this fucking fence. I gotta find my kid.
And Obsidian is better about that. You know?
Yeah, because I mean, Fallout New Vegas it's supposed to be a revenge story, right? But you can picture someone like traversing the landscape and doing all these other things while simultaneously hoping that they cross paths with the person that wronged them, you know?
Right.
And that's what made that game feel a lot more organic to me. And it's just, I don't know, it's just
a lot of their side quests don't at all like interact with the actual plot of the story. Like it doesn't like build the world they don't use their side quests for like really good world building, in my opinion. Like with Divinity, a lot of the side quests, like some of them are dumb. Like one of them, I just had to like get a rat to go buy this turtle so they could like fall in love.
Aww.
But most of them, yeah, it is all. But most of them, it's like the side quest is like, oh, this person is running from this sect of people. I know this person from this sect of people. Like they all do like interact, and it's like, oh hey, like they also reference back. Like I talked to one crab in the first part of the game, and in like part 3 on my other game, like I meet a crab that knew that other crab, and I'm like, oh shit, that's a callback. Like Bethesda's not doing that shit.
Yeah, no, for sure they're not. I mean, people like to talk about like their lore, right? With fucking, I don't know, man. They've fucked Elder Scrolls so badly at this point.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I agree.
I still really want to play Oblivion. Like I'm just like, let's remaster Oblivion. I don't give a shit about any of the other games. Just let me play
as someone
this.
who liked Fallout 3 better than New Vegas, I can 100% say that the writing in New Vegas is far and away better than anything in Fallout 3 or 4.
Yeah. I was just, it's funny because I remember I said this, I said this like last week, I think, and I reiterated it tonight in a conversation with Kaylee, but like I get to, like every time I think I want to play Skyrim, I get halfway through that intro and I'm just like, you know what, never mind. I'm just over it.
You pick your fucking Catman.
Yeah, like I made my Catman. My Catman's ready to go.
Yeah.
But then like by the time the dragon lands on the fucking thing, I'm just like, you know what? I'm just not into it. And
Yeah, in Oblivion, I've played that beginning like 50 times, and I'll play it another 50 more. I don't give a shit.
yeah,
But I do feel that with Skyrim. I'm just there has been times I'm just like, I'm having to restart this.
and I guess there's got I don't mean to get off on a rant here, but there's got to be a point at which like they stop getting away with like making buggy ass games, but um, you know,
With 76, hopefully.
yeah, and like the you know I've heard Kaylee say this a few times. It's just like back when they first started making these open world RPGs, Bethesda, I mean, like they were compelling because there wasn't much else out there like that. But since then, like
But
so,
now there is.
but since
Besides
then,
Fable.
so many others have like come out and like are better than that, and
Yeah.
so they have to do something. But even still, Fallout New Vegas is still a pretty great game. Uh, then I have Monster Hunter World, which is again, that's another game that I've talked about
Not surprising.
pretty extensively. But what I will say is this: I think it's a great game that does a good job of introducing new players to the mechanics of Monster Hunter, while also giving veterans like a lot to even still learn, which is something that before that game, Monster Hunter wasn't doing very well, and I think that that lent itself very well to like being able to play with like new friends and get them into the game. And they've done a lot of good. I love what they did with the matchmaking, whereas like it was kind of like sectioned off, like from like this, like there was single player, and then you had your multiplayer, and there were two separate sections of the game, and like putting the two, like merging the two together was like I think the right move. But and like just like the scope and like the openness of the environments that which is something that they hadn't done previously, was part of why that game was so compelling to me.
Well, in sales, right? Like the sales of that game were fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And that's obviously influenced where the series is going
Yeah.
from here on out, right? Like you look at the new game, like the new one that's coming to Switch, right?
Yeah.
Like it looks much more in line with what Monster Hunter World had going
Yeah.
than the ones that came before.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
And the last one I have is Time Splitters Future Perfect.
Dang.
Which
Perfect Dark people.
yeah, I miss Time Splitters so much. Time Splitters is such.
You have tried a couple times on the show. Not as often as Doom, so not.
Yeah.
But still, also not surprising. Made its way on your list.
Yeah, I
do love Time Splitters.
I just think Time Splitters is just like it's just so clever, and it's just so cool and fun. It was awesome to like mess with the map editor and make your own maps, and then like Future Perfect lets you put that shit online, so you could like share maps and like download maps, and the storyline for that game is like, it's hysterical. That's the first time like a first person.
You think so?
I thought that game was hilarious. I thought that game was so fucking funny. And I wish like in like what has it been, like 15 years since Future Perfect came out, and I've just been wishing so much that another Time Splitters would come out. I'm always hearing whispers and rumblings of a new Time Splitters, but it never happens. Maybe one day it will. I don't know.
It's interesting that you had Perfect Dark on there and then Time Splitters. Like it's, I'd almost expect you to have a Halo next, considering the people that worked on those games.
Yeah.
But
also, that game lets you play as a monkey with a gun, and I like that a lot. So, I mean, if that's not video games, I don't know what is. But that's the last item on my list.
Nice. This is fun. Like I said, I didn't realize it was supposed to be favorites at first, so I was just looking at I was trying to think of objectively best, even if I hadn't played the game. So my first list was pretty different, because there are games that like I necessarily didn't play, but I've seen enough and know enough about it and can acknowledge that it's like one of the best made games of the last 20 years. So that was super interesting for me. And
give us one of those.
Yeah, let's hear them.
Give me one.
Give me one. Just one.
Dark Souls. I was gonna have Dark Souls on there.
Okay.
I think it's a really well made game.
Tom didn't care for it. Tom spent
I mean, that's fine.
a little bit of time with that game, and he is not convinced.
That's fine.
I've
Hey,
spent. Let me
where's your
tell you something.
graveyard?
I've spent
Where's your
at least 20 hours with Dark Souls. Okay.
That's a good amount of time. That's almost a whole day.
Yeah.
So
But where's your graveyard, Ryan?
oh, of course. Okay. All right. I think I grabbed a different case this time because this one feels a lot lighter. But let's see.
There's nothing in there.
Let's see what's in the crypt.
You fucking dork.
But also don't look.
I'm not looking. Okay. This feels interesting. Okay. What is this?
They all feel like discs.
Hold on. I got a good vibe off this one.
Feels interesting.
Can I get a do-over
Do.
on this one?
PS4.
Can I get a do-over on this one?
Sure.
Okay.
No,
Sure.
It's not dead.
you
There's
went
still
grave digging, and it's what came out of the grave.
well, you can't really do Rise from Your Grave on a game that currently exists as a game as a service. So,
Fair.
hold on. Let me grab my other one because this one is all garbage.
It's all current gen.
Hey, I see my control back there.
You see it?
Yeah.
Come and take it. All right, here we go. God damn it! We already did that one. We did that one already. Okay. All right, what's this?
What is that?
Mech Assault 2.
Oh yeah, Mech Assault. Mech Assault 2.
Did we do Mech Assault already?
No, we didn't.
No,
Okay.
I have no reference for that game. I don't know anything about it.
So, like, okay, so Mech Warrior is like it's a pretty involved like sim, as it were, and so there's like a lot of controls and a lot of shit to remember. Whereas Mech Assault like watered all that down and made it more of like a third person like action shooter, and made it a lot more fast paced and more accessible. But I would
Do you
like.
think it needs to make a comeback?
I do, because like they just released a new Mech Warrior game, I think earlier this year for Windows. I think it exists on Xbox. I'm not sure, but they did just release a new Mech Warrior this year, and it's cool. But like, there's a lot of buttons to remember. There's a lot of shit that you have to do with that mech, and it would have been cool to just be able to turn on the game, take that same mech, and just blow shit up until I was tired, and then turn the game off, and also have really fast-paced and fun multiplayer.
I do also feel like there are fewer mech games now than there were 10, 20 years ago.
Yeah, I guess mechs aren't as cool now. They're not in vogue.
There was
So-
Gato Roboto. That game was really fun.
Yeah, that game had a mech.
Yeah.
So it was robots, then zombies. Aliens have been in there somewhere. What other non-human humanoid trend can we do?
Vampires.
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 Mummies. Bring mummies
Where-
back. Make mummies
We
cool
talked
again.
about mummies, yeah.
You guys, I've been looking on eBay for Mumra action figures. So,
I didn't know that you
You guys
like
know
Oh,
mummies
about
I
that guy.
have one
to.
in my closet. Do you want it?
you have a Mumra?
No, I don't. But wouldn't it have been super weird if I did?
I
That'd be
mean,
cool.
yeah. I mean, you like.
You
Thundercats
kind of got
or
my
no?
hopes up for no reason.
Yeah.
Live on TV.
Yep. All of Shanae's lies have been caught on tape, so
Yeah, that's true.
I mean we got a backlog.
So
of,
I
I'm gonna make a
yeah, I
supercut
only
of all her
lie if I'm
lies.
being recorded. If I'm not being recorded, then I'm telling the truth all the time.
Sure. I mean that's not true, but also at least one episode per year you lie. I'm gonna make a
Fair.
supercut of it. But
All right.
yeah.
Yeah, was there anything else you guys wanted to add?
Real quick, I did make my list, but as an honorable mention, Def Jam Fight for New York is a badass game. So,
Honorable
Okay.
mention was Halo 3
yeah.
for me.
Cool.
If you, for all our listeners and watchers, you can find us on the YouTubes. We're on most podcast apps like Podomatic, iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify. We also has the Instagrams, and bye guys.
Later.
Bye.